Hello everyone, welcome back to Quanta Facts. Today we're diving into a story that's gripping the entire world, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But this isn't just another news update. What if I told you that what's happening right now could change our world forever? Stay with us as we unravel the details, and by the end of this video you might see just how close we are to something far bigger than any of us could imagine. But before we dive in, I have a question for you. What do you think will be the outcome of this conflict? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening content. A world on edge? The Russia-Ukraine conflict. The world watches Ukraine, a nation in peril, a people under siege. Russia's invasion a year ago shattered peace in Europe. It sparked a global crisis, but what lies beneath the surface of this crisis? Stay with us as we uncover the hidden truths. We are all connected to this conflict. Its consequences are far-reaching. From the breadbaskets of Ukraine to the gas pipelines of Europe, the war's impact is felt. Global alliances are tested, the specter of nuclear escalation looms. This is a defining moment in our time. We must understand the stakes, we must seek truth amidst propaganda. We must raise our voices for peace. This is the story of a war that could reshape our world, a war that must end. The roots of conflict, a century of tension. The story of Ukraine is one of resilience and struggle, a tale that spans over 100 years. The conflict in Ukraine is not new. It is a continuation of historical disputes and power struggles that have shaped the region for generations. It's rooted in a complex history, a tapestry woven with threads of ambition, resistance, and survival. A century of intertwined fates and broken promises. Treaties signed and then shattered, alliances formed and then betrayed. Could history be repeating itself? The answer might surprise you. Ukraine, once part of the Russian Empire, gained independence in 1918. This was a moment of hope and new beginnings. But this freedom was short-lived. The dream of an independent Ukraine was quickly overshadowed by the realities of geopolitical struggles. In 1922, Ukraine became part of the Soviet Union. This marked the beginning of a new era of control and suppression. Its fertile lands, known as the breadbasket of Europe, were collectivized. The rich soil that once fed millions was now under strict Soviet control. Millions died in the forced famine of the 1930s, a tragic chapter known as the Holodomor. This man-made disaster left deep scars on the Ukrainian people. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine declared independence again. This was a moment of renewed hope and possibility, but Russia never truly relinquished its grip on its neighbor. The shadow of Russian influence loomed large over Ukraine's newfound independence. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine are stark reminders of this unresolved past. The struggle for sovereignty and peace continues to this day. Putin's gamble, miscalculations and escalation. In February 2022, Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. His stated goals: demilitarization and denazification. A narrative widely dismissed as a pretext for an illegal war of aggression. Putin's gamble was based on miscalculations. He underestimated Ukrainian resistance, he underestimated the resolve of the West, and he underestimated the global backlash against Russia's aggression. The invasion backfired spectacularly. Instead of a swift victory, Russia faced fierce resistance from Ukrainian forces and armed citizens. But what if these miscalculations lead to something far more dangerous? Find out what's at stake. The conflict escalated into a brutal war of attrition, with no end in sight. The West responds, unity and division. The West responded to Russia's invasion with unprecedented unity. The United States, the European Union and their allies imposed crippling sanctions on Russia. They provided military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. This united front, however, masks underlying divisions. Some NATO members are hesitant to provide Ukraine with offensive weapons, fearing further escalation. The debate over energy dependence on Russia continues, exposing vulnerabilities within Europe. The war in Ukraine has exposed the limits of Western power. It has also revealed the fragility of the global order. Could these divisions spell disaster? You won't believe what happens next. The conflict has become a proxy war, with major powers vying for influence and shaping the narrative. Section 5, a global power struggle, China, the US, and the New World Order. In this chapter, we delve into the intricate dynamics shaping the modern geopolitical landscape. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is not just a regional war, it has far-reaching implications that extend well beyond the borders of these two nations. It's a global power struggle, a high-stakes game where the future of international relations is being contested. A clash between competing visions of the world order, where each side is vying for influence and control. The United States, seeking to maintain its global dominance, sees Russia's aggression as a direct challenge. Washington is determined to uphold its leadership role on the world stage. China, on the other hand, is watching closely. Beijing is carefully calculating its moves in this complex geopolitical chess game. Beijing has refrained from condemning Russia's invasion, but it's also wary of the economic and political fallout. The stakes are high for China as it navigates this delicate situation. The conflict has pushed China and Russia closer, but it remains to be seen how far this alliance will go. Their partnership is one of convenience, driven by mutual interests. The war in Ukraine has accelerated the shift towards a multipolar world. This new reality is characterized by a more fragmented and competitive international system. But is there a more sinister plot unfolding? The truth will shock you. A world where power is more diffuse, alliances are fluid, and the rules of the game are being rewritten. The future of global governance is uncertain, and the stakes have never been higher. Section 6, the human toll, suffering and displacement in Ukraine. Beyond the geopolitical calculations, there's a human cost to this war. A devastating toll measured in lives lost, families torn apart, and futures shattered. Millions of Ukrainians have fled their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries. Those who remain face constant danger. Russian shelling and airstrikes have targeted civilian infrastructure, leaving cities in ruins. Hospitals, schools, and residential areas have not been spared. The war has created a humanitarian crisis of immense proportions. Food shortages, lack of medical supplies, and the trauma of war are taking a heavy toll on the Ukrainian people. Is this just the beginning of something far worse? The future is uncertain. Section 7, the fog of war. Predicting the unpredictable. Predicting the outcome of the Russia-Ukraine conflict is a perilous exercise. The situation is fluid, with unexpected turns and reversals. The fog of war obscures the battlefield, making it difficult to assess the true balance of power. Several scenarios are possible. A negotiated settlement, however unlikely, remains the best hope for a lasting peace. But the path to diplomacy is fraught with obstacles, and mistrust runs deep on both sides. But what if we're on the brink of something unimaginable? Stay tuned to discover the possibilities. A protracted war of attrition is another possibility. A grinding conflict with no clear victor, draining resources and inflicting immense suffering on both sides. This scenario could escalate further, drawing in NATO and risking a wider European war. Section 8. Experts speak out. Voices from the front lines of thought. In this segment, we delve deep into the minds of those who have dedicated their lives to understanding the intricate web of global politics and conflicts. To understand the complexities of this conflict, we turn to experts. These individuals bring years of experience and a wealth of knowledge to the table, helping us navigate through the murky waters of international relations. Historians, political analysts, and military strategists offer valuable insights into the possible trajectories of the war and its global implications. Their perspectives shed light on the historical context, strategic maneuvers, and political ramifications that shape the current situation. Some believe that Russia's military setbacks have weakened Putin's grip on power, making him more dangerous and unpredictable. This unpredictability adds a layer of complexity to the already volatile situation, raising concerns about future escalations. Their insights might change everything you thought you knew. What could happen next? Others argue that the West's sanctions, while necessary, have also fueled resentment and nationalism within Russia, making a negotiated settlement even more difficult. The sanctions have had a profound impact on the Russian economy and society, leading to widespread discontent. There's a consensus that the war in Ukraine has fundamentally altered the geopolitical landscape. The conflict has forced nations to reassess their alliances and strategies, highlighting the need for a more nuanced approach to international diplomacy. It has exposed the limits of hard power, the importance of soft power, and the need for a new framework for global security. As the world watches, the lessons learned from this conflict will undoubtedly shape the future of international relations and global peace efforts. Section 9. Averting catastrophe, paths to peace and reconciliation. Amidst the devastation and despair, there's a glimmer of hope. Diplomatic efforts, though faltering, continue. International organizations are working tirelessly to provide humanitarian assistance to those in need. A lasting peace requires dialogue, compromise, and a shared vision for the future. It requires addressing the legitimate security concerns of all parties involved while upholding the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Reconciliation will be a long and arduous process. It will require healing the wounds of war, rebuilding trust, and fostering understanding between the people of Ukraine and Russia. But can peace really be achieved? The answer might not be what you expect. Section 10, staying informed, staying engaged, your role in a globalized world. In our interconnected world, we are all stakeholders in this conflict. We have a responsibility to stay informed, to seek out reliable sources of information, and to challenge disinformation and propaganda. Could your actions influence the outcome? The power is in your hands. We can support humanitarian organizations providing aid to Ukraine. We can raise awareness about the plight of refugees. And we can use our voices to advocate for peace and diplomacy. Silence is not an option. Apathy is not an option. We must remain engaged, informed, and committed to a peaceful resolution to this crisis. Section 11, Hope Amidst the Ruins, a call for peace and understanding. The war in Ukraine is a tragedy, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the human cost of conflict. But even in the darkest of times, hope endures. Hope for a future where dialogue replaces violence and understanding triumphs over hatred. Let us work together to build that future. A future where peace prevails, where diplomacy triumphs, and where the people of Ukraine and Russia can live together in harmony. Let us not allow this conflict to define our time. Let us choose peace. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is a tragedy, but even in the darkest times, there's hope. Hope for a future where peace prevails, where dialogue replaces violence, and where understanding triumphs over hatred. Let's work together to build that future. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, comment, and share it. And don't forget to subscribe to QuantiFacts for more in-depth analysis on the world's most critical issues. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.